Welcome to Bible Talk with your host, Leader the Only One.
Did like this ESPN nice poster you did for me one time. That'll be so sick.
No one's supposed to know that that's a fake ESPN cover.
John's Fumbly.
I have a cat.
Okay.
And,
I like
my
it.
Good news. He hates this so much. He really, truly hates it.
Adrian A.I. Indelos.
Adam was a man, and he was a lonely man, and God said, you shouldn't be lonely. So he made woman named Eve.
This is Bible Talk.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what? I am now very hyped about this show, fellas. Welcome everybody to Bible Talk number 39 with the brand new official intro to the show, sponsored by the one and only, the co-star of the show, Mr. Adrian Indoors. Hey, baby, how you doing, man? How you doing? Talk to me, baby. Talk to me. What's life?
Good. What's life? Life was frozen a week ago here in Texas.
Certainly was.
We were blessed that we only had our power go out. Like, we didn't have any pipe bursts or anything like that. But we lost power at like 3 a.m. Monday morning. And it was gone for like the next 4 days, and so we had to bunker, with my folks. But they didn't experience any. They didn't have any troubles at all. So that was fun, but had to make the trek and drive quite a bit just to get there. But once we got there, everything was honky dory. And then now this week has just been catching up on work. So I am tired, but I got my monster. And I'm hyped for this episode.
We're ready to roll. Let's get it. The one and only, my duo, Mr. John's Fumbly. What's up, baby? How are you doing? Got a double chin?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Thanks for having me
up every time. Yeah, yep.
No, he's going with a Thor voice.
He certainly is.
Gained a little bit of weight.
Gained a little bit of weight. Good.
Great,
very good. Okay, what's life with
Your
you,
shoulders
man?
look swole.
Yeah, he's big, man.
Thanks, man. Oh, thanks. No one ever notices my shoulders. I'm so tall that nobody can see them.
AI always
be
coming
nice.
in clutch and see them there for you, buddy.
Thanks, man.
Well, welcome, chat, everybody. Welcome. I hope you guys got a chance to see the intro. If you didn't, it's okay. It'll be on YouTube. It'll be on Facebook. It will be kind of everywhere for you guys to see. And you'll see him in the upcoming episodes. The intro is officially sponsored by Mr. Adrian Indelos, which is amazing. He did this as a surprise, which is, I didn't request it. He did it out of his heart, so bless him, bless his heart. The one and only, the missing Mr. Adrian Indelos. By the way, AI, you didn't tell me, and I just realized not too long ago, meaning not too long ago, meaning minutes ago, that your automated message to promote your phone number and like your stuff was not activated on my bot, so it's now
I thought you did that on purpose.
No, so I did on purpose only if I do like I've done sponsor streams and stuff where I need to deactivate, like I deactivate John's and stuff, but I go back and I activate him. I don't know how long it's been deactivated, so it's not cool, but it is now, so you guys will see Adrian's information from time to time on the chat if you want to connect with him. And since you're the official sponsor of this intro, man, what do you tell us about, what's happening over there?
So Alex
I still don't
was
have a
giving
hat,
himself
guys.
a scalp massage. That was what's going on.
Mhm.
I mean, that's what I saw, right, John?
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
I saw a little
100%.
massage, yeah. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it.
Did I do a good
Is that
job?
what
At least?
I saw him get the Vaseline and
Yes.
everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I do a
you get the
good
head
job?
and shoulders? Head and
did.
shoulders. Make sure there's no dandruff or anything
I
up there.
have to, man. It's
Okay.
it's standard.
Yeah.
No, man. Tell us about you, brother. What's up, man? What's up? What do you do? Why is this a big deal? Why
All
are we
right.
chilling?
I guess we can just get down to business and talk about the business, right? So you notice that, Leader and I are wearing the same logo hat. This is my company logo. I myself am a photographer, graphic designer. I do a lot of digital creativity, including putting together like videos, marketing, advertising, stuff like that. I've been doing this for over a decade now, and I just love being creative. And so, if you need anything created for you, um, whether it's like photos, videos, graphic design, logos, anything like that, like just hit me up. Or if you are a creative yourself, and you know just need some help, some mentoring, whether that's on the creative artistic side or like on the business side of things, feel free to hit me up. So any of those stuff, hit me up 214-865-8348. Or you can go to my website, adrianindelos.com. You'll see it pop up on the bot there. So adrianindelos.com, or text me directly 214-865-8348.
And
Back to you, leader.
in Twitch, you guys will see the message pop up every, like, I think it's like 10 minutes or so between all the automated messages. So it'll show up, and if I remember, I'll click on it and highlight it here shortly so you guys can see it on screen from time to time. But that's the one and only Mr. AI, man. Hey, you have a promotion going on with your thing, right? Is this something that you made public, or no? I don't remember. Like a marketing thing where you're doing like a little helping other businesses and stuff, or
Yeah. So video is the new frontier. Especially like for me, it's a skill that I have yet to master. I feel like I have a full grasp of photography. There's aspects of photography that I haven't experimented with, but that'll come. But when it comes to video, like I'm still very much like new to it, and I love just like experimenting. And I want to help out others, but also build my video repertoire, my resume, my portfolio for video work. So if you are a small business owner, ideally in the DFW area, but I'm willing to travel, and you need a commercial made, all right, send me an email. I'll go ahead and post my email here in the comments, and it should pop up for everyone to see no matter which platform you're on. Adrian@adrianindelos.com. Let me know what business you have, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish, and especially if if the pandemic has affected your business in any way, shape, or form. Like I want to help out. So even if that means doing some product photography for you, or putting together, a 60-second commercial. Leader and I actually have a mutual client slash boss or something that I'm actually helping him rebrand the tennis company that we work for. And so I just love getting creative, and with video, like the sky's the limit. I just side note, I just signed up for a premium sound effects service. So I have this entire library of like people walking on like concrete, wood, whatever. There is a tennis racket swoosh.
Oh, no
sound.
way, dude.
Yeah. So it's fun. So it'll get very fun here in the next couple weeks, next couple months.
Well, there you go, guys. It's AI for you. Not only a businessman, not only a star of this show, but also a guy who's got a big heart and understands that helping others is also important, even in his business. So good stuff, man. Good stuff. All right, let's jump into our business, fellas. Welcome everybody to Bible Talk. Real quick, we always kind of break the ice for the first few minutes. We just kind of chat. You guys get to know us for who we are. I'll go into that in a minute because we got to go through good news. But welcome, everybody. Say hi in the chat. I see Kevin already that said hi already. So hi, Kevin. And hi to everybody else that is in here. Hopefully you guys can say hi. And what we do every Wednesday, we just get together. We normally we're getting into this kind of groove of picking up a topic that we can dissect over a few weeks. And this is the first time that I didn't pick the topic, so I'm super excited. Adrian not only came in clutch with the intro, but he also came in with our plan for the next few weeks. So I'm pumped. Adrian just stepped up. He's the man, the myth, the legend. And
I had a lot of downtime last week, guys. I had a lot of downtime.
He came up with it's very, very cool. I'm really looking forward to it. The notes are amazing. So I'm really, really looking forward to talk about what we're going to talk today, which is amazing, and the next few weeks. Having said that, though, remember, this is a safe place for everybody. We don't want to argue with you. We don't want to fight with you. We're literally us really good friends getting together, talking about something that we really are passionate about, that we really love, and we just like to share with some other people, And so feel free to comment, feel free to chat with us. But finally here, we're not going to do that. We're not going to tolerate that. Go to Discord and fight John. You can fight John every single time you want. He's the man to beat no problem there. He'll fight you to death, so that's okay. But in other platforms, having said that, let's get started and let's talk about some good news first, because that's what we always how we start with the show. Real quick, John, hit me with some good news, man. What's up?
So much good news. Anime
Uh-huh.
season's back, so we're talking Doctor
Ooh.
Stone. We're
Okay.
talking Hero Academia.
Oh.
We're talking Attack on Titan. We're
Oh.
talking what else is there? World Trigger. We're talking One Piece, but that's always One
Food
Piece season.
Wars.
So
Food Wars is back?
right? Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Food
All the good
Wars
stuff.
season 4
So-
and 5 is on HBO Max right now. I'm so hyped.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
So we about to drop some Netflix, pick up some Crunchyroll. Our sponsor today is Crunchyroll. I'm just kidding. I wish I would lose my mind if Crunchyroll
Would
sponsored
you
us. Bro.
imagine, did
I would
That means
love
we
it.
would
We'd
all
to
have
show those anime intros.
Yeah, that'll be dope.
Adrian,
I
You
knew
make
it. I
us-
knew
I'm just
you were
kidding.
gonna
Make
go
us into
there.
anime characters. Make us into anime characters, Adrian.
Whoa, that's what
Animate
your-
that junk. I'm just kidding.
Listen, that's what your wife is the expert in that one.
I was about to
right?
say. I was about to say.
Mhm,
Yes.
mhm.
That's
I
right.
have Lauren
exactly
do it,
right,
and I'll
sir.
put together the intro. Like I'll put together the yeah. I'll put together the intro if she can turn us into anime heroes.
What's happening, bro?
I'm dead.
All right.
I'm
All right.
deceased.
Adrian, what are your good news, man? I can see that part of it is anime season for you as well, I guess. But
I mean,
other
I'm
than
always
that-
hyped. I'm always hyped for more anime. But leader, if we do this anime intro, we also need to have like Japanese audio with
100%.
English subtitles.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
It's gotta
That
be
would be
real.
hilarious. That would be amazing.
And for me, my good news, I kind of already said it, is just the fact that we survived Snowpocalypse 21.
Mhm.
With only just like a loss of power, but
Snowmageddon.
like Snowmageddon, yeah, like it was just nuts. We tried to tough it out like the first night, like when power went out at 3 a.m. We tried to like tough it out, but then by Monday, like literally like 12-13 hours later, it was already like 55 degrees in the apartment. So we're like, nope, like we out.
Yeah.
Peace.
Deuces.
So we survived. So and that's my good news.
There you go. Good news for me, fellas. I would say, I got to ski on my neighborhood, which is like, what, dude?
Ooh.
Like it's one of those like it's literally once in a century type of thing. So I ski on my own neighborhood, which it was really fun. My wife was freezing all the time, and she just she doesn't like cold. Period. But other than that, it's good. But we noticed that Pumpkin, our German Shepherd / Husky, has a lot of husky in her. She was the happiest we've ever seen her. She will go out, dude, into like
Aw.
the yard, and she'll like dig into the snow, bite it, and then like throw it up with her mouth and her whole face and whole body upstairs, kind of like up in the air and let it fall. She was like addicted to the snow. So fortunately for her, she won't see it very often, but it is what it is. But it was a good week. I missed you guys last week. Obviously, I was fortunate enough to really have issues. I also have solar and batteries, which is really nice to have. But man, it was rough for a lot of people. So I'm glad that people were kind of on the good side of it. I was very impressed to see Texans, man, getting together and helping each other out. I mean, I don't know if you noticed, AI, but like, I saw Facebook posts all the time. People that had like Jeeps and trucks were going out and picking out food for other people because Uber Eats and whatever the other services are out there, DoorDash and stuff, they just shut down. And so people were just helping each other. And so let's go Texas for being amazing at helping each other out, So I don't know. It's good, man. It's good. But I'm excited to be back. I don't know about you guys. I'm
Meanwhile,
happy to be
in
here.
Florida,
Yeah, they're 80 degrees over there, having a blast, dude, enjoying their time. So what's up with that, dude?
he's not even paying attention.
No, bro, he out there making sure that his Crunchyroll is up.
That or is he on that diamond run right now?
Trying to remember my password, man.
So he was on Crunchyroll.
He's logging in right now. He's like, what's my password, bro? All right, fellas. So let's get into
it.
let's get into our Bible talk, man. Let's go, bro. I'm excited. The gift of work, AI. So what's up, man? Tell us a little bit about this series. What we're gonna talk about, how you came about this, why are we gonna talk about this? What's the deal, man? The Worker series, dude.
Yeah, so for me, it was inspired that, or it was inspiring that myself, Leader, and John were all businessmen in a sense. We're all in different industries, but for the most part, like we're business people. We're kind of entrepreneurs in our own, right, in our own kind of definition of it. And we have lots of friends who are also business people, and especially in today's world with Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. Like it's a lot more people are more aware, I guess, of the business world. You have celebrities like Gary Vaynerchuk. You have Tony Robbins. And just it's getting easier access to their content. Leader, you actually appreciate this, and I think you'd be really impressed. So today at soccer practice, for those of you who don't know, I also help my girlfriend's dad coach a varsity soccer team for a high school, and they were having a whole conversation while they were doing a water break. They were having a whole conversation about GameStop stock. Like, whoa, like here's a
Really?
whole bunch of yeah, dude, like 16, 17-year-old boys are
Wow.
watching GameStop stock. And I'm
Yeah.
sure it has to do with like the Robinhood app or whatever, but I remember being like 15, 16, 17. I didn't care about that stuff. I'm like, what the heck is NASDAQ? Like, what does that have to do with me?
Yep.
And so it was really cool to see that. And so like for me, I was inspired to do something a little bit more like Bible focused, because like we're all hard workers. And I sometimes I have to be a little I kind of have to tiptoe sometimes, because when you're out there in the world, you can't just talk, you can't just vomit your faith onto someone else, right? And so for me, for us to have this space to talk about the Bible, and then talk about our faith, but in a pinpoint perspective about work and finding joy in work and stuff like that. Like for me, I was really inspired, by all the 39 episodes that we've done so far. And I wanted to do something that the three of us, have our own slice of the pie in our different parts of the world. So that's where it comes from.
Bro, let's get into it then. John, are we ready to roll, bro? So, actually,
So
John,
this is attack mode. This is Boba Fett attack mode.
Yep, I see that.
Attack mode.
Yep.
Attack mode.
Yep.
I'm in attack mode right now.
Okay.
Okay then.
Shout out to eSword, man. eSword is the app that we utilize every single week. It's a free app. The Sword of the Lord with an electronic edge. The reason why I like it so much is because we access multiple Bibles and translations throughout the time, which they will change, and especially because we got access to a strong dictionary, which is always dope. We get access to the actual real words as they were written in Hebrew, Greek, and Aramaic. So shout out to them. Well, we're gonna go to the Bible, but I just realized our very first note is not really to read a chapter or to read the Bible, is to talk about a particular chapter in the Bible. And this is kind of your deal, anyways, AI. So start us with, on our notes, you put up in Genesis 1. And the beauty about creation, right? So tell us about it. So let's talk about Genesis 1. And we don't need to read it, because otherwise we'll spend an eternity reading. I want to just give us a good recap about it.
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the book of Genesis is literally translated like the beginning, like the first. And so in the beginning, there was nothing. And then for some scientist people, they say there was a big bang. For us, we believe God was like, all right, cracks knuckles, let's get to work. And then he did that. He went to #work, right? And so he created the heavens. He created light. He created dark, heavens, the earth, the animals, the sea, the sky. He literally just spent 6 days, which is relative, right? Because for us, 6 days is like, Monday through Saturday. But for God, 6 days could be, it's a different type of perspective. But he spent 6 days creating everything. And for me, as an artist, as a creative, as I was preparing, as I was writing the series, it was really cool to relate in that sense, because God himself is an artist. Like he created everything from nothing, which is the definition of artistry, right? Is to use everything that's in your head, in your heart, and to make it come to life. And he literally brought life, which I think is really cool. So so that's what happened in chapter 1 of Genesis, is that he took a blank canvas and said, this is the universe.
Dude, I honestly really like the fact that we're starting with creation, just because it's the start of everything right for us. But also it tells you, there's a lot of things that we can talk about when it comes to work. Like, for instance, there was, if we want to be like more personal, if you will, right, about this, there was work ethics from God, right? He had a schedule, and he stuck to his schedule, right? Of a day, I need to achieve X, Y, and Z every day, right? And he had a structure, so everything was planned. He's not like because he could have. He's a divinity, right? Which is really hard to understand. He could have just gone, boom, everything is done, right? But I love the fact that he is detail oriented, that he is structured, that he's planned, that, and you can tell all those things. This talks about his character, right? Which is amazing to see, about how the creator is in that form of a creator. And then he was looking at it and then going back at it, and he's like, is this good? Yeah, this is good, right? And he was happy with what he was achieving. So there's a lot of stuff from a work ethic standpoint that we can learn from our God, because it's a big deal, man. Creation is creation, bro. It's not, any kind of job that we can ever do as humans. And he did it well. Obviously, here we are, and he put a lot into it, which is amazing. And yes, you're right about the time. In Peter, in the New Testament, Peter says, to God, a day could be 1,000 years, and 1,000 years could be a day. So time is very relative for him. But I really like to have some kind of help for us humans to understand the process, because this was a process, right? And it's just beautiful. So good way to start. I really like to get into a series like this, looking at God first before anything else. Like, talk about the real worker out here, right? Talk about the man who really is putting the work and continues to do so every day. How are you, Jacoby?
What's up, Brandon?
Brandon, what do you say? Hey. Oh, he's got a big point, right? Brandon says, hey, he took a day off, right? He also understood that there's a need for rest, which is amazing. Yeah, there's a ton to learn in here. It's pretty dope. So we're not gonna do some reading in here, guys. We highly encourage you to read the whole chapter, but we will read part of Genesis today. So let's get into that. Let's go into hit our first point. John, are you ready to read, sir?
I'm always ready to read, sir.
Genesis 1, verses 26 and 27. Good man, good sir.
Yes, sir. All right. Then God said, let us make man in our image after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heaven, and over the livestock, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creeps on the earth. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him. Male and female he created them.
Wow. Adrian, why don't you tell us why this is one of the verses that you selected to add into this conversation?
Well, it's like what you said, leader, right? So we were created in the image and likeness of God. So not only do we share in how he looks like, but we also share in his characters and his characteristics, right? So if God is a worker, then we should be workers too, right? So there's a sense of purpose just being, in God's presence, right? Like we're not supposed to be, just like lounging around, just being lazy. Like we have, and something innate in us, the moment we were born, the moment we were, we came into this world, we were created to work. Not that it's like, what do you call it? Like, it's not that we're being told to. It's part of our nature, as part of as being created and sharing in his likeness. Like, we're supposed to work just as God works.
Very good point. I also like to point out a couple more things, and John, I'm going to let you jump into this too. A couple more things to this. Whenever God is explaining here the likeness of it, it doesn't mean that we or this image. It doesn't mean that we're exactly looking the same way as he does or anything like that. It's talking about traits, the traits that he has as a divinity. Uh, a lot of those traits were given to us in his likeness, which is amazing. One of those being work, right? Just a hard worker and working with a purpose and stuff. Another really important detail from here is I love that for those of you who kind of are iffy understanding the Holy Trinity, and we talked about this quite a few episodes ago, this is one of the Bible verses that is very clear and it's not a mistranslation. Whenever God says, and God says, let us is plural. So he's talking to somebody, right? And if they are the makers, then it's plural. And so there's the Trinity in action from creation itself. So just know that God as a Father, God as a Son, and God as a Holy Spirit were all together as one, but also plural, working to make us, and literally from the ground, from nothing to from dust to what we are today, which is unbelievable. So just an additional scent added into this because it's a very rich verse. But anywho, John, I'm gonna get here to you a second. Chat, how are we doing, chat? I know there's a lot of you guys are active today. Let's go, Goose. Let's get it.
What up?
What's up? What's up? That's the way we pray.
That's the way we pray.
With the day
He's
off,
talking about the
right?
seventh
That's
day, yeah.
right. Yeah. Apple targeted. All right,
I
Misha,
gotta go. Bye.
thank you so much for stopping by, man. We love you, Kevin. That's exactly we're gonna be talking about this a little bit, and so you're truly getting ahead of yourself a little bit, but you got a really good point. We absolutely agree with you, John. He made us in his image, right? He cares about us in a great way. Do you feel like you are like you're off a creation of God, given the fact that Genesis described this, or this is something that you're kind of goes over your head? Because I feel like a lot of us, even believers, tend to forget that because we're so much blessed to being his heirs, right, and co-heirs of his kingdom, and that we are his sons and daughters, we sometimes tend to forget that we're also his creation, which is a big deal. And so I don't know, from that standpoint, how do you see it, man? Do you see it, is your God as a creator different than as your father? Is it the same? Does it influence how you work in life? Does it influence on the decisions that you make? Or kind of want to scoop into your brain and see that, because I think this is an interesting conversation to have anyways.
Okay. So it does play a big part of my life, right? So I really like science stuff, and I like seeing the way that my faith fits, or science fits into my faith, right? Because I feel like science tries to disprove God all the time, but it connects so easily to God. It's ridiculous, and so when I think of the complexity of like cells and everything, and I see how they work together, and then I see all of the finite details of DNA within cells, right? And so it's crazy to see that we become more and more complex, starting with the smallest things that God made about us. You know what I mean? And it's just interesting to see his signature almost in just who I am, right? Not just the way I interact and me existing, right, as three parts like him, but also having inner dialogue, right, between those three parts. And then just as science continues to understand more and more, recognizing how perfectly and insanely complex everything he made is. You know what I mean? And it kind of shows a lot of his handiwork and his artistry, you know what I mean? Because we're so interestingly made. And so the way that I would connect that with the rest of my life would be, it's hard for me to, I don't know how to explain this. I don't know if it's me or if it's God. I'm pretty sure it's God, but it's hard for me to not have positive feelings towards people sometimes. And it's actually a problem because like I'll be nice to people or be forgiving or give people second chances when I shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like give them a little bit too much leeway in my life. So I don't know. I that's kind of just a big question, because like you
I
can't
know.
go through life as a Christian and then answer that God isn't a massive part of that. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like,
Yep.
it's just inherently a given, right? Like, if you are a Christian, you go through life and God's not a part of it, then you're probably not a Christian. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
it's just, it's, I don't know.
That was a good answer. I wanna, Adrian. I'm gonna go back to you because you're the one who came up with the topic, and I think John did a phenomenal job of making a very general statement on this. Let's talk about work. You are, you're, like you said, you're kind of like an artist, very much like the God in this passage, right?
Mm.
Do you feel inspired by any chance by what he's done in your life? Does it ever play a role in the way that you work? Does it ever influence you in the way that you act, business wise, work wise, or this is just your God is more of a God that you need to you kind of need him from time to time, or how does is there any kind of influence from him in that regards, or is this kind of like a separate thing? Kind of curious.
I mean, no, it's definitely like, are you like, is God's work ethic
Yeah,
inspire my work ethic?
your work ethic, yeah, your business
Well,
proposition, your business models, you're kind of more on the practical side of things, right?
yeah, no, I mean, for sure, it's I mean, besides the ethical part of it, right? The
Hmm.
morals. I mean, obviously, that's all drawn from my faith and from God and all that stuff. But yeah, it's one of those things that there's so many. Honestly, when I was writing the series, there's actually a lot from Old Testament, from Proverbs, Psalms, all the way into New. There's so many
Hmm.
verses related to work and the importance of work and doing
Hmm.
diligent work. And I mean, that's why, like, I thought about doing this like maybe for like 2 weeks, but we're actually, this is a 3-part series, so we're going to do this for 3 weeks just because there was so much content. And actually, like, um to more directly answer your question, like, he has influenced my work ethic for sure by giving me strength. Like, I draw strength,
Hmm.
but also I've by studying this while I was writing it, I also realized that I sinned a lot more than I was supposed to,
Mm.
because I fell into temptation, which is something we'll talk about in, later on in the series. But I learned a lot just by studying this while I was writing it. But God, and his work ethic definitely inspires me every day, especially like Jesus and his ministry,
Mhm.
and all the challenges and troubles, and the fact that he was public enemy number one and yet was now like the most popular person, on in the history of the world. Like, come on, like,
Yeah.
it's hard not to be inspired by that. So
Dude, I feel that, man. Awesome. All right, let's get on to our next piece of a word of God, man. Let's get it. John, are you ready? Mouthful John. John's hungry today. You start to figure out Crunchyroll while eating, while doing this show. Talk about multitasking, John.
he's got this.
He's got it. Genesis chapter 2,
I,
verses 18 and 19. They're highlighted, guys, which means that we've read them before in Bible Talk, which is awesome. By the way, look at this. Perfect timing. Boom, boom. There it is. For
Oh,
those of you who didn't get a chance to to kind of catch his phone number and his his website. There
do
it
the
is.
ooh fingers, Adrian.
I'm
the
a
what?
hold it here as long as he can. See how long he
The
can
The
what?
hold
thing
for.
where you do this. Oh no, no. This. Yeah, yeah, there you go.
All right, back to the word. Genesis chapter 2, 18 and 19, sir.
Then the Lord said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helper fit for him."
Mm.
Now out of the ground the Lord God had formed every beast of the field and every bird of the heavens, and brought them to the man to see what he would call them. And whatever the man called every living creature, that was its name.
Mm, 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 mm.
Do I keep going?
No, that's perfect. Adrian, enlighten us on why
Oh.
this verse is part of this series. I like your title. It reads we share in God's creativity. So what's that all about?
Well, so God made everything, including, man. And then because he was so pleased with everything, the first thing he did after man was created was like, hey, now all this is yours and you get to make it your own, right? Naming someone or naming something creates ownership, right? That's something that especially like entrepreneurs and business people are very familiar with, like coming up with your own business plan or a proposal or coming up with a new method, right? Like in the medical world, there's always like XYZ, like this person's last name method or whatever, right? So naming something means that you take ownership of it, and God trusted us immediately after he said, like, I made man. Man is good. Now man is going to take part in my masterpiece that is, the universe. So you get to name all these animals, and also by doing that gave dominion over the earth, right? So the plants, the animals in the sky, in the sea, on the earth, like it creates ownership that God gave to us.
Speaking of ownership and super related to this topic, shout out to Chess and on Twitch because they're doing the Pog Champs right now, right? And it's pretty dope. They have celebrities competing against streamers on chess, and I think Queen's Gambit did a terrific job on Netflix to kick up chess. And it's amazing to see how almost like every single move has a name based on a guy who made the play. So there's the McDonald opening, the Gambit the defense, or the Sicilian defense, and all those are based on names of actual people who came with the idea of how to do it, right? The Philippio, whatever his name is, opening, which is one of the most common ones, where you go pawn in front of the king to 4, right? I think it's e4, and then you bring out the horse, right, or not the horse. My chess lingo is not there, you guys, but people
The
are
knight.
famous. Thank you, the knight. To like it's like F3 or something like that, and it's a very common opening as a McDonald. Sorry, the Philippia, whatever his name was, from the 1700. It's pretty crazy. People tend to. This is a very important topic, even on something as simple as this. And this is the reason why I bring it up is because we're on gaming and it's kind of popular right now, and it's a thing, right? But it's quite common, right? The laws are based out of like the Newton stuff, right? All this important stuff based on names, and we tend to own it. And it's amazing how that's a great point, AI, that you just made. The first responsibility that God gave us is to work, and to work in a manner that we are owning it too, which is amazing. So it's not just all do work just because. He's giving us the opportunity to also do it for ourselves, which is also really important to understand. He's not being selfish. He's giving us purpose, and he's giving it to us in a way that is gratifying to us to do. As part of we're tag teaming with him, and that's pretty dope.
I mean, we're called to create, right? Because by naming, right, we are creating, right?
Yep.
And so for me, that what that says is that like you are not meant to just have a job. Like you're not just supposed to clock in and clock out and call it a day. Like you're supposed to be a creative, just as God was. Whatever creativity means for you, right? Not everyone is can draw, not everyone can like paint or take photographs like I can or whatever, but everyone can still create, right? That's part of one of the things that makes us innately human is the fact that we're one of the few animals that uses tools, right? John's got a thing. I'm going to tag him in.
John, go for it. Yeah, we saw that you were ready. Yeah, go.
Yeah. So I have a question. So something else that's really neat in this passage is he says to name them, right? But with what language, and where did the language come from, right? And so I'm kind of yeah. So so who gave Adam the language, right? Was it God, or did Adam invent the language then and there, right?
Wow.
So this is another form of creativity, right? Not only that, but language shapes the way our brains work. Okay. So not only is God introducing ownership and authority and responsibility here, he's introducing the way that they have conceptual ability to interact with those things, right? And the language itself, he's saying ownership, and then he's giving them words of ownership. right? And so, like, for example, there's a good example of the way language changes the way we perceive the things around us, right? There's a tribe somewhere in the world, on the island, maybe somewhere, that they don't have a word for left or right. They just say, hand me the salt to the north if they're sitting at the dinner table, right? And everybody there has a constant understanding and knows exactly which way north, south, east, and west are, because that's how they communicate. They say, hey, go to the house to the east of where you're at now. And then they instinctually know where that is. And they constantly know where north, east, south, west, all that's at, west, the works. And so it's just interesting to see. And I'm curious to know who and where that language that he's naming these animals came from. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable. I never even thought about that, dude. It's a good question. I don't have an answer for that, to be quite honest. I have no idea.
Neither do I.
All I know, this was like written, like the oldest version was in Hebrew, but this was written a few years after that, which is, interesting. But Hebrew it is, Greek is the New Testament, so is Aramis. So it's very interesting. I have no idea. I wonder what language they were actually speaking. That's crazy, dude. Never even thought about
Babel.
it. Yeah, that's amazing. Good. Way to bring this up, John, because this had to happen somehow.
Yeah, I don't know. It just popped into my head. I'm
Very
sorry.
interesting.
No.
Well,
But
good.
the point of ownership, I never noticed that either, though. Like the fact that there is ownership, and then like that just in of itself is like an incredible point. So I would like to give Adrian more credit than I'm getting now, because his point was better than mine, and it's amazing.
Wow.
So
okay. Moving on to the great point. I'm sorry I don't have an answer. Unless you have an answer. I don't have an answer. I don't know.
I mean,
tell me,
scientists. Like John said, like part of naming them was creating the language. It's like when babies first learn to speak, right? Like
exactly. Did he just know?
You just started experimenting with sounds that came out of his mouth, and you're like, that looks like bird. That sounds good. Bird. You shall be bird.
You will be mongoose.
Yeah, good point.
I wonder what a goose is.
Hey, goose, if you're in chat still, huh? Let's jump into the New Testament, fellas. We're gonna go from the beginning of the Bible towards the end of the Bible. How about that, fellas? Colossians chapter 3. Colossians is one of my favorite books of the Bible. I think after Romans. Romans hands down my first one. Colossians is in my top 5 for sure. Colossians chapter 3 verses 22. I'm gonna read this in American Standard Version because I don't want to.
I'm gonna be honest, I can't find it.
Colossians, bro, it's between Genesis.
Oh, I'm an idiot.
And Revelation.
The cursor was literally on it. I was like, where could it possibly be? And it was highlighted. Stupid.
Who am I to contradict the absolute truth, John?
Yikes.
What? Is that a burn?
You're gonna need some aloe vera for that.
I'm just
Lucky for me, I live in Florida. That's all we have is aloe vera, because the sun here is so intense that we have to constantly lather it on our skin so we stay moist.
Okay, we forgot about that already. Colossians chapter 3 verses 22 and 23.
22 and 23. Bondservants, obey in everything those who are your earthly masters, not by the way of eye service as people pleasers, but with sincerity of heart, fearing the Lord.
Next verse.
Oh,
Uno mas.
Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men.
I'm bringing up King James Version. This is very interesting. Servants. Okay. You know how like this word translates from originally bond servants? Do y'all know the background that we'll get to you, Adrian, here in a minute, but I'm kind of curious if you guys know, because this is an interesting thing. Bond servants. Do y'all know how that came about? Do you guys have any idea?
Nope.
Okay, so So this is the word for slaves, really. Which you can translate. Well, actually, before that, King James Version, Strong's Dictionary, servants as slaves. So see here, you see G1401. It's a slave, literally or figuratively, involuntarily, voluntarily, frequently there will qualify sense of subjection, subversive, bond, man. It's the original word slave, and uh, English had a hard time translating this because slave has a negative connotation. What people don't realize is this could be either, so in the culture could be either voluntarily or involuntarily, and that's a big deal. The way that it was in the Old Testament, the slaves were given the opportunity to work for their owners. It wasn't like they will capture them and they'll torture them and stuff like that. Well, there's always war. That's a different topic, and there's different rules for that. But on a typical, like, normal circumstance, a slave will work 7 years for their master, and then they could choose to stay with them forever and become what they call now bond servants. They will pierce their ears and they will show this signal of, hey, I belong to this person and I am very proud of this. I am so happy to do this that I'm glad to show it through my body and to stay there with them forever. The servants will eat with their owners and they'll be, part of the family, really. And it's something that the culture in today's world doesn't understand, really, because we all think slavery as in like the blacks in the South and the 1900s to 1950 or whatever long. And that is completely wrong from a biblical standpoint. So just know that this is very, very important, because some people will go, hey, this is slavery and it's a problem, and it's not really. Okay. Having said that, Adrian, why is this in our topic today?
Just I mean, basically, in the verse 23, right? Whatever you do, work heartily as for the Lord and not for men. And so, just like everything we've talked about, we have come from dust, and to dust we shall return, right? So we belong to God. Everything that we do, everything that we say, might not mean a lot to some people. It's like, oh yeah, it's just whatever. Like I just said that one time. But everything that we do, everything we say represents who we come from, right? Like we hear this all the time, like in business, right? It doesn't matter if if you're not wearing your company logo, if you go and do something, get arrested or DUI or whatever, like that looks bad on the company, right? And even here, this is a gaming platform. Some of you guys are familiar with sponsors, right? If you do something that's against your sponsors, mission statement or what they stand for, they'll drop you. And since God gave us the ultimate sponsorship, which is life in of itself, everything that we say and do, should represent who gave us the biggest sponsor of all. So obviously work hard, work heartily, put your heart into it, but know that everything that you do represents where you come from.
Bada boom, bada beam. Mic drop. Good job, man. I like that. It's a special. I like this verses. So to begin with, Colossians is a pure letter, right? Paul, our guy Paul, is the G over here, the goat of the New Testament. We love Paul. You all know this. We're huge fans. What do you say, John? I kind of muted at you because you were munching and you were loud, kid. But yeah, that's right. He wasn't in attack mode eating. That's just wrong Boba Fett movement, bro. You just made Boba Fett look bad, bro. Shame on you, dude. It's okay. It's fine. We'll pass it. Not only is
not
this
as bad as he looks in the new episodes because he kind of gained some weight. Sorry.
he did. It's okay, man. Don't be so golly, John. Did you woke up on the left side of the bed this morning, all judgmental and jeez, bro. You just call
I
Boba
sleep
Fett.
on the left side of the bed.
You just call him fat, bro.
You watching me, bro? Yeah, he's fat. His armor didn't fit right. It bothered me so much that his armor didn't fit right.
Well, of course it wouldn't, bro. He was way
pretty sure there was just a flaw in costume design.
No, they used the same one from the episode, probably.
He needs better.
Okay.
Oh, probably.
Boba Fett, if you're watching this, I am not part of this. you can just talk to this guy. Okay, cool. Colossians is an awesome letter written to the church in Colossus, or whatever the city name is, and is very rich in like structure of the church and like also structure of a Christian person, right? Colossians goes like 3 starts with like, hey, look at things above and look at Christ and look at Jesus sitting right next to God, and die to your old self and be the new self and praise God. And it's very, very awesome. It's a very wholesome letter. And then he hits on this, like, I love it. The title in here, and you guys can see in your Bibles probably, is the rules of Christian households. And it's awesome because he's talking to Christians. So sometimes he'll talk to non-Christians or whatnot, but majority of his letters are catered towards Christians or Christians that are doing things wrong, and they shouldn't. And so it's pretty interesting. And I love how like this starts with like the wife's role, the husband role, church, and then he talks about like this is really talking about workers, really going back to the reason why Adrian is bringing this up, right? It's kind of our role of understanding even authority. We talk about structure again. This is the same as Adam. Really, Adam was a bondservant of the Lord, working for him, naming the animals and all that stuff, and he also had to fear him. Fear of the Lord is a very important topic that we've kind of talked a little bit in Proverbs before in this show, but that's very, very important. And so it's good to understand that this is kind of like a rule set, bro. It's not only just a thing that we're given, but it's also part of, or it should be part of our rules within our livelihood, within our everyday's life. So pretty dope. My 2 cents on that. Let's move on to our last part because our time is running up. And last time, guys, you were here for an hour and a half. We're not going to do that to you guys, hopefully ever again. Although we appreciate you guys to stay for the whole time. It was amazing to see. Philippians chapter 4, verse 13. John, are you there? Bada bing, bada boom.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
I can do all things through him who strengthens me.
What's up with this, Adrian? Was this a lie? Is this one of those like biggest myths in the Bible? Is this like the most cliche verse in the history of the Bible, or what's up with this, man?
I mean, I just wanted to end on a positive note. No, for me, man, it's just the note that I put for this is the harder the work, the bigger your faith should be. So if you feel like you're struggling, whether that's either physically or mentally, if you're like exhausted or whatever, like lean on God, like let him strengthen you. I mean, that was one of for me, the biggest mistakes that I did, running, my multimedia company, was thinking that I had to do it alone. And I had to find my own strength, whether that was like just, sleeping, like not sleeping or whatever. Like I thought that I had to go it alone, and I thought that I had to find my own inner strength. But it turns out like God is just a bottomless well of strength. And it's amazing now, with the rejuvenated faith that I have, that the more things that I let him do, the less that I have to do, which is nice, right? But also I'm actually way more productive, which is crazy. It's crazy how that works.
First show, y'all. Great job, Adrian, with getting all these notes. It's amazing to dive into this topic, and it's probably one of the topics that I've not talked about from a biblical standpoint probably ever, other than like the very cliche thing that Christians say to each other is like, don't forget to do everything for the glory of God. Don't forget to work really hard because God has provided you with the work. Don't forget to always give because God has given you. And yet those are kind of like rules and things like that, but look at how amazing, like where it's all coming from, right? We talk about creation, and I guess we'll count this as my final thoughts. We talk about creation. We talk about a God that is very creative. We talk about kind of like the structure and how planned he was, how beautiful is his heart to put a lot of purpose into us and to make us like him and give us a reason or the responsibility to work in a way that he's trusting us to even have ownership over what we do, and that's amazing. So I'm super excited to talk about the next few weeks of the next couple of weeks of this topic. Very intrigued by what we're gonna study. Good job, dude. Way to introduce us to work serious. The work serious. This is great. I love the title, The Gift of Work, and can't wait to speak more about it. So thank you for that, man. Final thoughts for you, John. How do you feel about this series, man? Are you excited?
Yes, super excited. I didn't read the other notes because I like to go into it
There you
fresh.
go. There you go. So you don't know
Fresh
what's
like
coming.
Subway. Exactly. So I don't know if what I'm about to say is gonna like give anything away. I hope it doesn't. And I just told you I didn't read the notes, so I'm not giving anything away. Anyway, though, I think something for me that I've learned recently about work and God is that you can work as hard as you want. You can pour your blood, sweat, and tears into it, but without God, it's completely pointless.
Boom. AI, final thoughts on today, and again, thank you for this amazing topic. Where to get started, dude?
Well, you're welcome. And before I give my final thoughts, I have a question for the
Okay.
both of you.
Oh,
Based on the last verse that we talked about, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
hmm
What was the hardest thing that you've done to date, and did you give it to God?
ooh, as in work wise.
Yep, work or just any challenge
Oh,
that you've. Yeah,
oh well, so not work then. Anything.
all right, we can focus on work since we're focusing on work.
I got
The hard.
mine. I got mine in work. I can talk about it. Whenever I was a sales or a territory sales manager for Cisco Eagle, shout out to them, amazing company, material handling company. They sent me to Chile for 3 months, and I was by myself during that time. And so it's a huge challenging of going to a country that you don't know, by yourself with little support from it's not like I can go to the corner and grab the stuff that I needed that was in the shop. And they sent me on this massive projects that were hundreds of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars, and I was in charge of them. And so it was a lot of responsibility. I was a kid fresh of college, big bear, and it was even just the flight is 14 hours, man. It's one of the longest flights. Well, back then, before they did just now, they fly to like Australia or whatever other place that is like 16 hours or so. It was one of the longest flights you could ever jump onto. So even that in itself is kind of a little bit terrifying. You're on a plane for that long of time. It's never even healthy for you. And it was challenging, man. And I remember I may have not, while I was working, I may have not focused too much, and that's shame on me for not doing so on an everyday basis to kind of give the glory to God, because I was so busy. And I think that's something that is actually a problem. I probably will talk about this during this series, AI, how kind of work can also get in the way of us glorifying our God. But the way that I prepared for the trip and for the work was good. I hand to God, all the preparations, and I was praying constantly and getting to work constantly, kind of be ready, because I was gonna be there by myself, no church, no friends, no support from, anybody there. I mean, I didn't know nobody, right? And so 3 months in a completely different country, far from everybody, is kind of challenging. So I think I prepared well, and I don't think I executed the best. I could have executed better, and so I guess that's a good one from me.
Cool, John.
So it's kind of hard to pick because everything before this, I worked for other people, right? And it was, I don't know, it was a lot different. So I would actually say it's probably right now, actually. So I'm in charge of all the sales and marketing for a company, and I do it by myself. And I don't have people that are sales minded to really bounce ideas off that are in the company, right? Like I have Alex, or I'm sorry, leader. I have some other people that I can bounce ideas off and talk to about it, but
You can
it's a
also reach out to
situation
me if
where I
you.
end up doing. Oh, true, solid point. But yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's interesting because usually when you're in sales, you have someone to like practice with, someone to go over the scripts, right? And kind of iron and iron makes the sword stronger. I can't remember the quote. Iron sharpens iron, that's it. And so it's just you're your own boss, right? Like I'm responsible for making sure that I hit my own deadlines that I literally give myself, right? And then I have to make enough money to survive, right? And so it's just like it's a serious challenge right now. And actually, fun fact: so recently we were struggling. We weren't hitting our numbers that we were supposed to hit, and my dad was like, "Hey, I think we should every morning at 9 get together, pray before work, and then work and start the day from there." And so we started doing that, and consistently, right? We were getting maybe like 2 calls a week. This week, the week that we started it, the very day we started it, we got a call that night. The very second day, we got a call after that. We've had a day consistently every day. We've had a call every day consistently since then, except for the weekend, which is ironic because we didn't pray on the weekend because we don't work on the weekends. So he's definitely showing that if you don't do it with him, then it really is pointless and much harder than it needs to be.
Question, John. If God wasn't going to give you the phone calls or anything, would you still be up to hand it to God and pray? So say hypothetically you wouldn't get any of these calls, would you feel the same way, or is it
We're
it's
gonna
gotta have a result for it to work type of thing?
so result shows that our faithfulness is paid off. But him waiting to show those results isn't going to change what the actions that we perform, if that makes sense, right? So I'm not going to be as excited about it because there's no results yet from the action, but the action's still being committed to, and the action's not going to stop ever. So
Okay. I like to ask because a lot of people feel like they feel entitled to, like, hey, I'm doing this for God and I'm praying all this, so they have the expectation of getting back, and especially a lot of like the progressive or like prosperity Christians are very focused on that, and I feel like that is just utterly completely wrong, and it's a
yeah,
shame.
I think the difference in viewpoints is we're doing this every day from the perspective of kind of like tithing, right? We owe this to God.
Yep.
This is the time that we need to give him out of the day because this is what he's owed by us. And so I think that's different in the sense of he's already giving us something, which is the business, and we're not giving him what he's due from that business, if that makes sense. Right. And so it's kind of like we weren't fulfilling the actions. He was giving action and we weren't fulfilling with results, if that makes sense.
Interesting. Adrian, you can't escape your own question, dude. How about yours?
I mean, I kind of already answered it when I said, like when I tried to run my multimedia company by myself, like I was pulling, 100-hour works week, working 7 days a week, and I just kept telling myself, "Oh, that's what entrepreneurs do. This is what I signed up for." Everyone says work hard. The first year is always the hardest. Second, third, and then it'll pay off later on. But like it doesn't. For me, it wasn't until now that I realized that. Sure, the first year is always the hardest, just like anything new. But I feel like it could have been the story could have been so different if I had let God into my business, into how I ran the business, how I treated myself while I was running the business. I mean, I was still going to church, but man, I was falling asleep. I was half asleep most of the time. And the moment church ended, like my family went to go have lunch or spend family time, I said, sorry, I got to go back to the studio. Like I did not rest. And that was, that's one of the things that we'll talk about later on in the series. And
Dude,
so for me, and for me, I just told myself it's what you're supposed to do. It's not what you're supposed to do. And so unfortunately, I did not let God in. And I burnt myself out. And sure, I could have blamed it on the pandemic. I could have, there's so many other X factors, but ultimately, like the company was running on fumes because I was running on fumes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I wasn't treating myself the way God intended to. So
Wow. Well, I
Amen,
cannot
sister.
wait. I cannot wait to talk further about these topics, y'all. We're not gonna run it longer. We promise you guys are not gonna go longer. We already spread it longer. So we love you guys. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Travis says in here, hey, come on with us and pray with us tonight on Discord. Discord is up. You'll see the links. We're about to be there. John, at this very, very moment, he's typing fervently, as you can tell on screen, to let everybody know that we should head on to Discord and be ready to pray. Travis will
Don't
there
mind
with
me,
us.
just a normal human being with no problems.
He's typical John here, guys. Typical John. Baby, thank you so much for stopping by. She says the verses leading out to Philippians 4:13 explain to which John just explained. Contentment even when you don't get the results you want. That is correct. He is sovereign, and that's something Paul reminds us in every chapter. And also we tend to forget that his promises are his promises, and there's good promises and bad promises, and we have to take them both and give him the glory in both. It changes nothing. We love you, fam. We can't wait to see you next Wednesday. And this is what we're going to do tonight, just because we're debuting our intro. We're going to go with the intro as an outro, so you guys can see it one more time, just in case you missed it. Shout out to AI for doing an amazing, amazing job with this intro. We can't wait to see you guys next Wednesday, God permitting, 9 p.m. Central Time. This is literally the only one. Adrian Enderless, John's Fumbly. We love you. See ya next Wednesday.
Thank you, boy.
Welcome to Bible Talk with your host, Leader, the only one.
Did like this ESPN nice poster you did for me one time. That'll be so sick.
no one's
So
supposed to know that that's a fake ESPN cover.
John's Fumbly.
I have a cat.
Okay.
And,
I like
my
it.
Good news. He hates this so much. He really, truly hates it.
Adrian A.I. Indelos.
Adam was a man, and he was a lonely man, and God said you shouldn't be lonely, so he made woman named Eve.
This is Bible Talk.